Hi, my name's Jay, and I did the tournament project. So the way I went about doing it was I made a satirical music video that's kind of silly, kind of dumb, but very well made, and it is essentially spectacle calling attention to itself. So the point is the common ground between these two ideas that critics of capitalism are no different than its proponents, and the desire to be outside of cultural hegemony is, in fact, cultural hegemony. So the first thing about the shot that you'll see is that the title of the song is called "This Literally My Con Final." So my whole goal here was to be subversive in a way that's pretty over the top, but not just random or needless, but has this point to it. So within this shot, you see, I want to make a note of all the stuff on the table, like all these store bought items and the hula hoops and the big old bouncy balls, and just sort of the absurdity of it all. So the way I went about making this satire was taking tropes of hip hop and trap music, as well as tropes of capitalism and the modern spectacle that are very much championed amongst culture, even though they're kind of detrimental to culture themselves. So the hook goes, I do drugs, get money, and sleep with honeys in my bed. Look up shit on my phone so I don't gotta use my head. I like counting my money, now what the fuck it represent. I'm having fun cause I got more than the rest. So if you take a look at that, you see all these tropes in hip hop and all these tropes of modern capitalism and the spectacle. The biggest being symbols and images replacing reality, which is the whole idea of championing money without caring about what money is used for, rather championing money for its own sake. So here I am, laying in my bed, surrounded by all these things, and one of the ways I was subversive about it was, that trope in hip hop where women are turned into sexual objects. Well, instead, I have all these jars of honey that I'm laying in my bed with, and instead of drugs, I got this candy, and like there's a little jar of Tums right there. And my outfit's pretty ridiculous too, just to kind of comment on how ridiculous the outfits of these rappers usually are in these videos. So the whole way I approached this loss of meaning was through this surrealist symbology. I took some inspiration from the show Atlanta, where Donald Glover has, like, for example, Justin Bieber being a black young man instead of a white young man, to kind of call into question, like, how much does it really matter? Like, what way does it change our perceptions? And there's no really answer to it. It's all about begging the question. So in the video, I have my 2016 Camry, so a sports car, for example. Now, the little flip that I do, I call it the flip. It's kind of this break of expectations where most people would think about critiquing capitalism, and then the message behind that is, oh, we need to tear down the system and make a new one. My whole thing is, to even be able to resist it, you still have to participate in it. So pretending that, or like feeling yourself to be above capitalism and stronger than it, and not needing of it is pretty nonsense. And it's the crazy thing is that having to participate in capitalism while resisting it, it kind of forms this circular sort of narrative that is kind of crazy, because both concepts are just made up and referential of one another. So here are some scenes from the hip hop video we filmed in front of Target, specifically to have the imagery of the corporation in the background while commenting upon all these different tropes of music videos and corporate entities. And I had some shots walking through, and it's crazy walking through the dress how I was dressed. I had all these eyes on me, and you see me downing these gummy worms or these Sour Patch Kids that get all over my bed over here. And that's kind of to this whole vibe behind this music video is to show how crazy and absurd all these rappers and all these people searching for fame through exploitation of trends and tropes, how they look, basically. So the silliness of commodification here, you see me downing some Pepto-Bismol. It's that same concept. So I use this idea that the only reason that people like flute trap and rappers who like do flute trap and trap music is because they like to hear music like that sounds like copies of all the music they've heard in the past, and people will spend money on that and like love that music. And I draw so much attention to this in the piece itself. So when it comes to the silliness, I say that it ain't my song, even though I wrote it all along, even though I sell it for that money, so don't get me wrong. So what I'm saying is it's not my song because I'm just trying to make a cliche, stereotypical trap beat, like the simplest beat you could ever imagine. Like, I'm a music major, I'm a classical composer, and I made this one chord loop, basically. So it's not my song, but the flip there is I would still sell this song. If someone wanted to buy it, I would still sell it, even despite like going out of my way to point out how ridiculous it is. And that's why that self-referential aspect of it kind of short circuits the message in a way, and that is the message. So the plagiarism, I do this part where I do Edward Gregg's Morning Mood. If you look up this song, you've heard this song before. It goes da 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 da, and I'd put this in the beat to just draw the attention to the fact that it's so ridiculous that people just like hearing this flute music over this beat, even if it's just this classical piece of music. So this piece of music, on its own, it's like flautists love playing this so beautifully in a classical setting, and putting it in this song, it just completely devalues it. And that's the point. And this is what's going on while these two shots right here is what's going on during this part in the song. So the point illustrated here, I am handing my friend some honey, and these two lines right here, I won't read them because I don't want this to go on too long, but these are probably the most important points in the lines in the song, and they're talking about how you could just as easily grow rich from capitalism as you could resisting capitalism. Like making a song about how bad capitalism is could make you successful within the capitalist machine. And the other part is everyone else wanting to be unique. But that's the thing, everybody else wants to be unique. So the more you have the urge to be unique and different from what everyone else is doing, the more you are just acting like exactly like them. So in conclusion, silly as the video is, if you go and watch it, it's all about the surrealist imagery and the satire of the music industry as the vehicle. So the music industry just loves popping out copies of the same type of music, and to that end, it kind of is a microcosm. Well, it might be a macrocosm of like how people feel inside, like on that front. So there's this idea of the evolution of capitalism, cultural hegemony now being flipped upside down. And the common theme that flips them upside down is the point that I'm trying to make here. Now, the spectacular visuals provide adequate sensory input. That just means that I go in and do hella video effects, as well as having colors all over the place and different shots and aesthetic shots. And, I've been mixing audio for about 4.5-5 years, so the quality of the music is very well. And to put so much effort into something so silly and so funny is kind of again the point that people will do that, like over these funny things, and they'll spend their money for that. So even though it keeps the listener engaged, even as I'm trying to tell them how silly they are for enjoying what they're consuming and how silly I am for making it, and that's kind of how I feel that's kind of what I feel a determinant is supposed to do, is to kind of show how crazy it is that we live this way in society with one another. Thank you.